Hi there, thanks for joining me. Today, the part 7 of the Twitter files was dropped, and I'm going to go ahead and go over some of that for you and show you what we found out. It's all concerning the Hunter Biden laptop and the FBI and their priming of Twitter to try to look out for Russian disinformation where Russian disinformation didn't exist. So it's coming up next, and here's your opportunity to go ahead and like and subscribe. All right, so here it is. Michael Schellenberger has dropped the Twitter files, part 7, and we're going to go ahead and see what is in this drop. The FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. How the FBI and intelligence community discredited factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings after both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of his laptop on October 14th, 2020. Twitter files. Number 6, we saw the FBI relentlessly seek to exercise influence over Twitter, including over its content, its users, and its data. In Twitter File 7, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by representatives of the intelligence community aimed at senior executives at news and social media companies to discredit leaked information about Hunter Biden before and after it was published. The story begins in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul, JP, Mac Isaac, contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter Biden had left with him. On December 9th, 2019, the FBI issues a subpoena for and takes Hunter Biden's laptop. By August 2020, Mac Isaac still had not heard back from the FBI, even though he had discovered evidence of criminal activity. And so he emails Rudy Giuliani, who was under FBI surveillance at the time. In early October, Giuliani gives it to the New York Post. And here's the link to the New York Post article. Shortly before 7 p.m. Eastern on October 13th, Hunter Biden's lawyer, George Mesereis, emails JP Mac Isaac. Hunter and Mesereis had just learned from the New York Post that its story about the laptop would be published the next day. Here's the email. John Paul, thank you for speaking with me tonight. As I indicated, I am a lawyer for Hunter Biden, and I appreciate you reviewing your records on this matter. Thank you, George. At 9:22 p.m. Eastern, 6:22 Pacific, FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan sends 10 documents to Twitter's then head of site integrity, Yeol Roth, through Teleporter, a one-way communications channel from the FBI to Twitter. The next day, October 14th, 2020, the New York Post runs its explosive story, revealing the business dealings of President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Every single fact in it was accurate. And yet, within hours, Twitter and other social media companies censored the New York Post article, preventing it from spreading, and more importantly, undermining its credibility in the minds of many Americans. Why is that? What exactly happened? On December 2nd, Matt Taibbi described the debate inside Twitter over its decision to censor a wholly accurate article. Since then, we have discovered new info that points to an organized effort by the intel community to influence Twitter and other platforms. First, it's important to understand that Hunter Biden earned tens of millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, for which Hunter offered no real work. Here's an overview by investigative journalist Peter Schweitzer. Moving on. And yet, during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Yeol Roth to dismiss reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation. This is from a sworn declaration by Roth given in December 2020. Let's hear if you want to look at that. They did the same thing to Facebook. According to CEO Mark Zuckerberg, the FBI basically came to us and was like, hey, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in 2016 election. There's about to be some kind of dump similar to that. Were the FBI warnings of a Russian hack and leak operation relating to Hunter Biden based on any new intel? No, they weren't. Through our investigations, we did not see any similar competing intrusions into what had happened in 2016, admitted FBI agent Elvis Chan in November. Hack and dump operations witness. So repeatedly, I would say, can you ask your questions like, what do you mean by repeatedly? Like 100 times, 5 times? Mr. Sauer. Well, did you do it more than once? I did it more, yes. I warned the companies about a potential for hack and dump operations from the Russians and the Iranians on more than one occasion, although I cannot recollect how many times. Did anybody else at the FBI talk about hack and dump operations? From my recollection, other senior officials, to include Section Chief Dimlow, likely mentioned the possibility of hack and dump operations. So they were lying about what they had going on there. Indeed, Twitter executives repeatedly reported very little Russian activity. E.g., example given on 24 September 2020, Twitter told FBI it had removed 345 largely inactive accounts linked to previous coordinated Russian hacking attempts. They had little reach and low follower counts. Be out of the way, and if you want to pause and read that, you're more than welcome to. In fact, Twitter debunked false claims by journalists of foreign influence on its platform. Quote, we haven't seen any evidence to support that claim, unquote, by one underscore at NBC News of foreign controlled bots. Quote, our review thus far shows a small scale domestic troll effort. So domestic troll is not a foreign operation. After FBI asks about a WAPO story on alleged foreign influence in a pro-Trump tweet, Twitter's Roth says, quote, the article makes a lot of insinuations, but we saw no evidence that that was the case here. And in fact, a lot of strong evidence pointing in the other direction, unquote. And that's for this article. Black voters are being targeted in disinformation campaigns echoing 2016 Russian playbook. And Yeol Roth himself is saying, no, we've actually seen evidence pointing in the other direction. It's not the first time that Twitter's Roth has pushed back against the FBI. In January 2020, Roth resisted FBI efforts to get Twitter to share data outside of the normal search warrant process. So now we can see the FBI is actually pushing. The FBI forced themselves on to Twitter and told Twitter, hey, you are going to give us information on foreign operations. And Twitter slowly had to agree and do this. And now they're pushing even further. If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Pressure had been growing. Time and again, FBI asks Twitter for evidence of foreign influence, and Twitter responds that they aren't finding anything worth reporting. Quote, we haven't yet identified activity that we'd typically refer to or even flag as interesting in the foreign influence context, unquote. Despite Twitter's pushback, the FBI repeatedly requests information from Twitter that Twitter has already made clear it will not share outside of normal legal channels. Then, in July 2020, the FBI's Elvis Chan arranges for temporary top secret security clearances for Twitter executives so that the FBI can share information about threats to the upcoming elections. On August 11th, 2020, the FBI's Chan shares information with Twitter's Roth relating to the Russian hacking organization APT28. Although the FBI's secure one-way communications channel all through the FBI's secure one-way communications channel teleporter. Recently, Yoel Roth told Kara Swisher that he had been primed to think about the Russian hacking group APT-28 before news of the Hunter Biden laptop came out. When it did, Roth said, quote, "It set off every single one of my finely tuned APT-28 hack and leap campaign alarm bells," unquote. In August 2020, FBI's Chan asked Twitter, "Does anyone there have top secret clearance?" When someone mentions Jim Baker, Chan responds, "I don't know how I forgot him." An odd claim given Chan's job is to monitor Twitter, not to mention that they work together at the FBI. Who is Jim Baker? He's a former general counsel of the FBI, 2014 to 18, and one of the most powerful men in the U.S. intel community. Baker has moved in and out of government for 30 years, serving stints at CNN, Bridgewater, a $140 billion asset management firm, and Brookings. As general counsel of the FBI, Baker played a central role in making the case internally for an investigation of Donald Trump. He's the one who took the fake evidence from Sussman, knowing that Sussman was representing the Clinton campaign. Baker wasn't the only senior FBI exec involved in the Trump investigation to go to Twitter. Don Burton, the former department chief of staff to FBI head James Comey, who initiated the investigation of Trump, joined Twitter in 2019 as director of strategy. How convenient. As of 2020, there were so many more FBI employees, alumni, that working at Twitter that they had created their own private Slack channel and a crib sheet to onboard new FBI arrivals. Here's that example there. Efforts continued to influence Twitter's Yeol Roth. In September 2020, Roth participated in an Aspen Institute tabletop exercise on a potential hack and dump operation related to Hunter Biden. The goal was to shape how the media covered it and how social media carried it. The organizer was Vivian Schiller, the former CEO of NPR, former head of news at Twitter, former general manager of New York Times, former chief digital officer of NBC News. Attendees included Meta, Facebook's head of security policy, and the top national security reporters for the New York Times and the Washington Post, and others. Here's a list of those folks. And that's the end of it. There it is, our latest installment of truth from the Twitter files. And as you can see, the FBI was up to no good. And this is all illegal. What's amazing to me is some of the responses that you've seen on Twitter from some of the Democratic Congress people. And it's made me wonder if they're gaslighting and trying to put this under the rug should constitute them being prosecuted eventually. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel so you can get more stuff like this. And I really appreciate you watching this and subscribing. Until next time, peace be with you.